Have you ever wanted a safe and loving place to come to spark that good feeling in yourself? Well, you've arrived. Welcome to the Om Show with Tanya Butson. In this space, Tanya encourages you to view yourself through love. This new energy allows you to become brave, to take the first step towards healing and thriving. Get ready to step into a level of self-worth never before experienced. With Tanya, a leader in the field of human potential, you will shift from longing to creating to discover that there is something better, and you will never ever have to settle for being in a state of perpetual darkness again. The Om Show with Tanya starts now. Hello, everyone. I'm Tanya Butson, and you are listening to the Om Show on Transformation Talk Radio. Stay with us for the next hour and let us help you experience the escape from perpetual darkness. Each Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, we will have some of the most interesting stories, tips, and guests helping you to be all that you are. Today, I'm so excited. I have Dr. Pat Basili here to discuss the Om Factor. This topic can help you come out from the space of surviving to thriving. Dr. Pat is also the creator of the Remarkable Transformation Network. Let's welcome Dr. Pat to the Om Show. Hello, Dr. Pat.
Oh my gosh, it's so great to be here for a lot of reasons. One of them is what I get most excited about is watching people, especially women, have a voice to really come forward, to really speak their truth in the world. And that's what you've done. And many people don't know that in order to get here, there's a lot that you've put in. There's a lot of things you've done, setting up that beautiful background, getting ready, practicing, showing up here radiant. You're radiant right here, you know, and you're ready. And isn't that what today's about? It's about being ready, right?
Ready to take that first step and leap off the cliff.
Well, you know, I told you this morning, I got up this morning and I got up early and getting ready to go on a trip, doing a talk. And I get up and for somebody just opened the front window and there it is. There it is, right in front of my house in the street, like right out there in front of my house, a coyote. Big one. Now, you know a coyote when you see one. They're not a dog and they're not a wolf. You could tell they're coyotes. Yeah. And it was in the road and it was just kind of trotting along and then it stopped. So my friend Monica would tell me, take a moment and breathe that in and ask ourselves the question, what part of ourselves is ready to be tricked into oblivion? What part of ourselves is ready to give everything up for doubt, for fear? But you did not. And that's why you're here, because this episode is the Om Factor, your escape, like many of us, from perpetual darkness, isn't it?
It is. It is. I'm so glad that you saw that coyote, because if anybody kind of drifts in the forest and wanders about looking for their next meal, it is the coyote. They got a big job to survive, and many of us have come forth and through the survival into thriving, and then there's a lot of people who are still in the survival state, and that's where I come in. Having been through hell and back a few times, I'm able to help assist anybody that is at that space that you speak of, ready to take that first leap and delve into those spaces within themselves that are peeking out and wanting to be soothed and loved and helped. And I love what I do. It's very rewarding to see people start to thrive.
You know, let me ask you this question, because we're talking about perpetual darkness, but you know, there's a part of this that I love talking about. Now, we can tell people what the coyote is, but when I look at your background and I look at your beautiful altar and I look at that beautiful wall hanging you have, very, very powerful, very symbolic. And when we think about the symbolism of things, right? You know, I don't know about you, but I've been reminded lately of these My friend Jean Houston would say tipping points. They're moments in our lives, right, where the scale tips one way or the other. It's that moment that you have to make a decision. Did you have something like that?
Oh, let me count the ways. Yeah, I've had a few, but probably a very, for a lot of people that are divorced, probably there's a point in their marriage where they're like, yeah, it's time. It's time. There's no more trying to fix it. It just has to end. And that's a big memory, that moment for sure. So yeah, the universe, God, whoever, just kind of sometimes has to kick you in the butt to get you to move. Otherwise, you'll just stay in the perpetual darkness, which none of us deserve. So take that kick and run with it.
Let me ask you this too. I did a show yesterday and I was thinking about this, and somebody asked me a question. They asked me what darkness felt like. Can we take a moment with that? And the reason I want to take a moment with that is because it's not the same for everybody. My version of darkness in my life, and to look at us now, look at us with this blonde hair, for my goodness, right? And does it get any brighter than this head? But and people ask me why. They're like, dude, why do you dye your hair? You have this beautiful brownish, like what? I said, you know why? For me, I have to be reminded of the light. And it's a reminder for myself. And there are moments in my life where I didn't remember, but darkness has a feeling to it. What did it feel like for you?
Oh, darkness. Darkness for me is definitely fear. Fear just smothers me, where I can't see the trees for the forest. I can't
Yeah.
breathe. It's just, it's fear. I just scared that everybody's after me, scared that I will never move forward. I'll never move sideways. You're just stuck. Um, and something within me and something within people that do take that leap know deep down in their soul that this isn't their permanent place, but it certainly feels like you're cemented into that spot. And when nobody's coming to rescue you, and that is a big piece of knowledge I think that a lot of people need to know, is that I'm sorry to report, but nobody's coming to save you. You have to save yourself and want to save yourself. And it can be very hard when you're blanketed underneath all of that fear. And that's what it was for me. It was fear of people. It was fear of bosses. It was fear of no money. It was fear of illness. Like I said, count the ways. I was stuck in it. And it took that kick in the pants to propel me into the direction of something new and better.
Yeah. I mean, we're not kidding when you and I are talking about the show today, and we're talking about moving from perpetual darkness. Let's spend a moment on the word perpetual. We have a great act here and in Seattle, and it's a fabulous we have the best drag queens on the planet here, and they did an act on the Order of the Perpetual Nuns or something. And I was thinking about the word perpetual and how I grew up with that word. Okay. And how powerful that word is. So you're not just talking about, oh, I moved from darkness. That's a Star Trek movie. But you're talking about perpetual. That is overpowering stuff, Tanya. That is crazy.
It is. And it's a contrasting word as well, because perpetual can be the darkness, or the perpetual can be the light. And both are powerful in their own right, because the darkness always teaches you. It always keeps you, well, maybe not in the moment, but eventually when you look back, you're like, oh my gosh, I went through all of that for this reason or that reason. And then that perpetual light, when you finally allow yourself to feel it and get there, it is the most rewarding feeling ever. And it continues to grow and grow and grow, just like the darkness will grow and grow and grow if you don't do anything about it. Perpetual is, I find it such a contrasting and powerful word, because it really, we live in a space of polarity and duality, and perpetual is kind of right in the middle of the two of those. So I agree with you.
Well, as you look at this and you think about where you're at today, today's your debut show. It's an inaugural show.
I know.
That is clearly for you a step into the light. And it is in contrasts. And here you are, you're radiant, you're shining. Look at you, you're smiling. You're owning this today. What was it like to say yes to do this show? What was it like to say yes to come out here? Because this is a big yes, right? This is what we're talking about today.
I don't normally get nervous, but I was nervous today, and I'm still a little bit nervous. But you can talk to the producers. I was very skeptical. I was very, no, I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I don't think this is the right thing, the right time. I was definitely not, I wasn't ready to take the leap, and I had to have a couple conversations with your producer. And before I was like, you know what, this is staying in my forefront. It's here for a reason. And Richard Branson always said, when an opportunity knocks, you need to say yes. And in the past, I always said no, like, what's going to go wrong? Perpetual darkness, right? That self-talk is so limiting. And when you guys approached me, it was like hesitation, and then it was a giant yes, and let's go, because I have no idea about TV, radio. It was a whole new learning curve for me, and I don't like to learn new things if it's not something that I'm not ready for. And I just kind of dove in, and 3 months later, here we are.
Yeah. I want to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what does this mean, right? And we're going to talk about, from your perspective, what you have created. Because what you've created now is you've created a way for people to step in. You learned from everything you've been through. And now what you've done is you've created this. When we come back, we're going to really dig deep into the Om factor. What is the Om factor? Because people have heard the word Om, but when we see what you've done with it, the Om factor on the Om show today, then we get an idea of what your escape from perpetual darkness really stood for, right? Really stood for. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back. Back in a minute, everybody.
We're back on the Om Show with Tanya Butson. My co-host today is the amazing Dr. Pat Vasily, who's talking with us about the Om factor. But before we continue, I want to make sure everyone knows how to contact me. You can reach out to me anytime through my website, organicallymetta.ca, and that's meta with 2 T's, or email me at organicallymetta@outlook.com.
I love it. We have a surprise.
Oh,
we have a caller that wants to call, just have a chat with us. Emily, who do we have?
Charlene from Canada. You are on the
Awesome.
line. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Charlene.
Thank
How are
you.
ya?
Hi, Dr. Pat. Thank you for expanding the network. I was just phoning in to congratulate Tanya on the premiere of the Om Show.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That is so touching. Thank you so much for calling in and just thinking of me. That's so thoughtful. That's what Organically Metta is all about. Naturally kind. And I haven't even mentioned this yet, but the first caller was going to get a copy fresh off the press and best-selling book. I co-authored a chapter, Smiling Through the Rain, and my chapter's called All Is Well. So this is for you, Charlene. Thank you so much for taking the time to
Yeah.
congratulate me.
Yeah. Charlene, do you have a question?
I'm here to listen and absorb all knowledge. And we all have knowledge, and I'm just really excited to listen to the rest of the show.
All right, good. And don't hang up. Stay on the line, and Emily will get your information. Okay, Charlene?
Okie dokie.
Okay. Oh, I love that. That's my favorite phrase.
Thank
Wow.
you.
Thank you, Charlene.
Thank you. Have a wonderful
Yes.
day.
Great to hear from you again. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, so listen, Tanya, you're going to have to hold the book up again because we do need to tell people about it, right?
Yeah. This is my second one I've done in about 6 months. The first book is called Life Out Loud, and it was an Amazon bestseller as well. And it was also co-authored. And I wrote about a tragic event with my cat, Albert Einstein, and the miraculous healing that he went through after being in a dryer for 30 minutes. This book has my chapter in where I do a very daring reveal of all the trauma I've been through from childhood until present moment. And it was a very inner child healing moment. I feel like I'm going to cry because I'm like, I really didn't want to publish it. After I wrote it, I was like, oh, this is really vulnerable and exposing. But in order to help other people heal and be brave, I've got to be brave myself. So this is the newest one that I've got out, and it was such a wonderful experience. So yeah, I'm happy to give it away
Yeah.
to Charlene for
Oh
calling
my
in and
gosh.
supporting me. Yeah.
Well, that leads to the question that I said before here, and Charlene has been a loyal, just that we have first of all, we have the best audience on the planet, and Charlene's right at the top in terms of her engagement and supportedness and gratitude. I mean, it is what gets me up every day. And like she said, we are expanding, and it's what helps us do that. When we decided to expand, we just didn't do it haphazardly, and nobody knows this, but this is really related to what you're about to talk about today. And that is the own factor. You see, people think, you're just doing it to just hear yourself talk. No, there's a methodology, there's an intuition. And we asked our listeners what they wanted us to do. We asked them 8 years ago, then 5 years ago, and then right before COVID. But there's a factor involved in doing that. There's a factor involved in what you're doing. Your work is the OM factor. Tell us about that.
Well, the OM factor is just a place of peace within yourself. I really believe that in order to find happiness, it's not something outside of you. It's not something material. It's not how much money you have. Although we often feel that that's where we're going to find our happiness. But the happiness comes from within. It comes from healing the traumas that happen in early childhood. Everybody's got some sort of trauma, whether it's from somebody in the family or somebody outside of the family. And most people will suppress it and keep it in and suffer for their entire lifetime. That's no way, in my opinion, to live. And you're certainly not going to find peace and happiness in that. The OM factor, I knew what I wanted to do. I've been doing energy work, therapeutic touch, Reiki for over 30 years. And I know the healing benefits emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually that Reiki has on people. And they really don't have to do much but be open-minded and receive it. And the outcomes that, the outcomes are unbelievable. That's a whole other show. So, and then Louise Hay, she's been a very pivotal person in my life to help me towards my road of healing. And because it was such a profound effect, I actually took her training. So I'm well versed in her philosophy of healing your life from the inside out. So I wanted to grow a business, and I hummed and hawed about the name, came up with Organically Metta. And then when I released the business, I just celebrated my 4th year. Somebody said to me, "Oh, it says Om. Your 2 letters of your names, your business name is Om." And that just happened on its own. There was no intention for that. And I went, okay, I'm on the right journey. And just Om is a chant. It's a chant, and it is to come into one, come into peace, ground and balance. And when we're all in chaos, and we are all in perpetual chaos as well, to sit, like, you don't have to chant, you don't have to Om. But that's really great for your throat chakra. If you guys can't speak up for your truth,
Yeah.
you know, that vibration in your throat, it allows you to say what you need to say. And I don't know, just in Buddhism, I don't know, it is just the platform, the baseline of everything that Buddha stood for, and bringing in the nature of love. And that's what my business is. It's a love-based business. Now, how cool is that?
It's very cool. And how powerful are 2 letters? Oh my gosh, right?
Yeah.
And, you know,
Yeah.
what a beautiful story. You know, it's funny because this morning I was telling you, I woke up and out in front of my house was a coyote, an old friend of mine. And one of the most misunderstood. It's so interesting that it's on the day of your show. There are no mistakes.
I know.
Right. And when I think about this, it very misunderstood, by the way. You know, coyote it represents boldness. So I'm not surprised standing out there, right? Looking at I'm like, what are you looking at? And easygoing, curious. They have diverse energy, right? They're known to be the trickster in some cultures, but they're gifted with the trait of bravery. You see, that's something we don't talk about. Their nature withstands the hardest of challenges. And what it does is it life shapes you. You know, this bold attitude it has towards complicated situations. We were talking about this earlier today. And, you know, they don't fear obstacles. They're driven with the motivation to become stronger and indestructible. I mean, this is the persistent nature of coyote that people don't know about. And you know, one of the things is like I'm reminded of it. I have these totems, but it's a divine force that uplifts you. And you said this, so I'm going to just read it and then I want to kick it back to you. Stand your ground and never back up. What do you make of that, Miss Tanya?
I take that so personally because there has been so many people try to take me down, and so many people don't even know the current situation. And I don't back down. I am a survivor. And I was listening to that song before we came on. I just won't back down. I didn't have much self-love, but I had enough self-worth to know that no, what my mother taught me was morals, ethics, kindness, courteousness. And in learning what is right and wrong in those aspects, I knew that the way people were treating me was wrong. So even in my perpetual darkness and fear and weakness, I had the courage and I had the bravery to go, no more. I put up with it for too long, but
Yeah.
I finally got to the space where I went, no more. I'm done with this. And this is what makes me so relatable. There's certain groups of people that find me very relatable because I've experienced and gone through what they're either in or have gone through or I've helped them through. And yeah, there's when you read this chapter, you're going to go, wow, how did she ever publish that? And I sit here and go, wow, how did I ever publish that? And then I kind of go, good job. You're super brave. You're super powerful. You're super courageous. And that if not anybody, it's going to help my 2 daughters in this world. Yeah.
But that's really why you did it. I mean, I don't think it's a mistake. I have never seen a coyote. I've been living here for a bunch of years, right? I moved here, I think 3 years ago. I've never seen a coyote. I hear they're here. I hear they're in the neighborhood, but I've never seen one. And I'm telling you, I popped open that thing and it was like not even the, what do you call it? Sunrise yet, right? But I popped open it and I'm like, okay, because this is this day. No mistake, you're doing the show. We're talking about the Om factor. But there's something about this. You know, fear is something, coyote, spirit animal, barely acknowledges, like barely. Now, we're going to take a short break. And when we come back, that barely acknowledges. That is the thing that has really enabled you to come forward, to really create what you created, to become who you've become, to really wave right through perpetual darkness and become stronger from it. When we come back, we're going to talk about this own factor and how this process is a process of expansion and acceleration, and it removes the doubt. Coyote reminds us of how strong we are. And for you and me, and especially for me today, the fear and doubt about this upcoming event, it just shut my mouth. Let's take a short break. When we come back, we're going to get the Om Factor kicked in here for everybody, and we're going to let you know how you can work with Tanya. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
We're back on the Show with Tanya Butson. Dr. Pat and I have been having an amazing conversation about the Om Factor and how that process turned into a business concept for me to help other people. Now we're going to talk about what led me to create Organically Metta and the mission behind it.
Look, I don't think you and I don't think either one of us, when we said yes to what we were doing, I know I didn't. I did not have in my consciousness, my vision, my energy, or my plan to really a business, to like start Unlimited Possibilities Now, to like a network. Are you kidding? I mean, the people contacted me for my upcoming school reunion. Again, like it's a big one. And they're like, wow, you're not dead? We thought you were dead. You know, I mean, you were crazy. We thought you never made it out of homelessness. And so here we are. And let's talk about this, because this is probably not the show to talk about the pain and the agony of what one goes through in perpetual darkness, but I know you will talk about it. But here you are. You've created something beautiful. You've created something that now can help other people. What excites you most about being able to share this with people today?
Oh, the results. 100% the results. I am so blessed and grateful. Very often, I don't know if it's daily, but let's say every few days, I get messages and testimonials sent to my DM all the time saying, oh my gosh, you have helped me so much. You have helped me see within myself. You have let me be aware of my own potential. And those messages, that's what, this isn't necessarily the easiest job in the world. I'm listening to people's deep, dark secrets. It's heavy. And then when I'm doing Reiki, I'm often working with very, very negative energy that they're here to transmute and disperse. And that is very, very draining on a person. And I am very heart-led, and I give a lot of extra time, which I've got to learn to have boundaries. But I like to give, I like to see people succeed. And definitely the results keep me doing it, because I see people growing. I see people changing their life 360, and I see people coming into a better space that they deserve. And I continuously encourage them to keep going. You haven't reached anything yet. Like, keep going, keep going. There is no limits. And as Louise would say, totality of possibilities. Yeah.
Interesting story about Louise Hay. I've known her for a long time. Of course, she's now watching over us. But my first interaction wasn't with Hay House. My first interaction was in New York. And I didn't know who is Louise Hay. I mean, did anybody? No. But we had something in common. You know, we were fighting for the rights of gay men and all people with AIDS in New York City. We were doing it differently, but our paths crossed then, right?
Amazing.
Each of us in our own way. I was more like pounding on Mayor Koch's door. I was that person, and she was healing people. so I'm shaking them up, and she's helping them. But it doesn't matter what those energies are. They have one thing in common, and that's what you have. They have in common life out loud. They have in common smiling through the rain. They have in common looking fear and perpetual darkness straight in the eye. And then whatever that means, picking yourself up, following your intuition, and look at you now. Look at you now. And we
Oh,
didn't plan wearing blue, right? And like, right?
it's the throat chakra.
Oh my, see, I'm still 20 years and I'm still haven't figured that out.
Yeah, yeah, it was the perfect color to wear when I was gonna start talking about the truth, my truth. So, yeah, go ahead.
Fascinating. And I don't think you even know this. I don't know how. We have a great following in the United States, but we have a great following in Canada.
Oh,
And yeah, Charlene, right?
yeah.
And I thought about that. And I thought, how did we create an energy to bring people in North America in the mix for this? And so let me talk to you about this. I would love to talk to you about the energy to create Organically Metta and the mission, the energy. See, everything is energy. If we don't talk about energy, like, come on, right?
People do not get that everything is energy. That is the first difficulty of my business. But it is true. And if you need science to prove it, go to Einstein and Tesla and go do some research. But everything is energy. And that's okay. So your question was what was the energy?
The energy behind creating it. Because we
Yeah.
don't talk about that enough. We talk about process. We talk about thinking. I want to talk about energy. Look, I used to have bagels with Arno Penzias, the Big Bang guy. And every conversation,
yeah.
that man, I was young. I was 17. I don't even know. And his energy gave me so much hope. And I had not a clue what the heck this man was talking about. The bagels were great. But let's talk about the energy that created this, right?
Yeah, well, the energy from it. So I started a little tiny business in a city here back before I had babies, and my kids are 20 and 22 now. And it was kind of short-lived because then I started having babies. And so I put my whole dreams to the side to raise my kids, which was the best lesson any parent can have. And so then it came for my children to fly the coop, and I was so involved with the parenting. I was like, what is going to fill my void? I need to have another baby. So the zest and energy to create a new life form was what was at the forefront of it. And I was able to attract some free help with the logo and the name. And we sat down head to head, and she was very scientific that it's not my flow. And I had my flow, and then we integrated the two of them because energy, after all, is scientific and is flow, spirit, love. And what came of it was the name, and then the logo was super important to me. And she kind of went willy-nilly with this, in my opinion, this blasé kind of very plain logo. And I was like, no, I need to be bright. I need to have the chakras. I love the lion. I want the flame. I want fire. That's my element. I'm an Aries, so I'm bold. I want it to blah. I want people to go, oh, okay. And then inside I had the metta symbol. And again, go look up what metta means. But the metta symbol, again, is about the light. So outside in this logo of energy, which is bold, big, colorful, aligned with the chakras, in the center was the flame of love. And that's the factor within each and every one of us. Inside all of that exterior is that peace and tranquility of one,
Yeah.
which is what we all are.
It is what we are, but it's also a gateway. And I want to ask you about the gateway, because this is something I know you're going to be talking about this. I just want everybody to, this is your first show, but you're going to be doing shows on a regular basis. So I just want everybody to know that. And it's exciting to see you come to the forefront, because saying yes to that is also an energy. All right. And what that means is that you do things when you get the call. When you get the call, and I'm not saying like somebody calls you like that, but you get the call, you hear it. I heard it. I dialed the wrong phone number. I didn't hang up. I was coming across the I-90 one day after a show, and the whole TTR lit up. It like lit up the whole vision of it. And I almost wrecked the car on the I-90, but it lit up, and I didn't know what it meant. You had the same experience, and I want to hit you up for this. Intuition, for lack of a better word. Somebody asked me how I picked the winner for the Kentucky Derby. Last Derby, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah. Intuition.
And they said, how'd you do it? And I said, oh my God, it was like an easy choice. And they said, no, it wasn't. And I said, it was. I said 2 races before, Cody's Wish ran about this horse that stood for this young person by cerebral palsy that was at the racetrack. And then something happened. And the universe aligns things. That's what I want you to talk about. Things line up that are not supposed to line up. They're not, but they do. Now they asked me how did you pick the race? And I'm going to save that for later in the show. But things line up that don't line up. Has that happened for you? They're not logic on the paper, like Triple Virgo Linda, my best friend, logically would say, there's no way you picked that horse. But let's talk about that, because isn't that part of what you do, and also help people clear the energy to open up to them?
Yeah, 100%. So I've always been intuitive, but I just thought everybody was. And just recently, people have told me, no, that's not. I just thought it was, you were born with that, like everybody. so I guess that's another little tidbit. I didn't realize that was a little bit different. But now I have very strong intuition, but I don't always follow it. But in regards to yeah, like even this opportunity for the Om show, my intuition was saying, do it. My ego was going, no way, this isn't true. It's just somebody else creeping through your email, sending you solicitation. And it was like this game of war between my soul and my ego, which a lot of people, I believe, experience. And finally, I got silent and went into a space, and then I'm like, what am I supposed to do? What is this? My soul is, and then I just went, yeah, my soul needs to do this. And then what you and I discussed in one of our meetings, I asked you kind of how you got into this and how I got into this, and there was sort of a similarity. And I said, I don't really know Dr. Pat, but I know Oprah's name came through my mind 1 or 2 times. and then you brought up the fact that there's a big O right behind me, which
Yes.
I didn't even realize. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's powerful O. I mean, it's symbolic in itself. It's a powerful O. It means so many things, but even the color palette and the way it's drawn, right? Do you see it? And there's an energy from it. But there are signs. Like, I am going to take that coyote sign. I'm going to really lean into it over these next couple of days. But we either follow the guidance or we don't. Now, on the days that I followed it, oh my gosh, here I am. On the days that I didn't, what got in my way? Fear, hesitation. But you see, you have to pick a Kentucky Derby winner whose horse is named Mage, M-A-G. What does it stand for? It's magic. It's magic. But what else happened? A wrong phone number happened. The jockey got switched. And for the first time, this jockey, never part of the Venezuelan crew, never won a Derby, won a lot of races. And there he goes, Javier, hopping on it, Castellano, hopping on the horse. When you feel the energy of that hunger from that jockey and the power of that horse and the heart and soul that goes into it and the kindness by which they train that horse. See, all of these are connecting dots that help us make decisions. Isn't that part of what you've done to get out of perpetual darkness? Because clearly when you're in the dark, all you need to do is see a little sliver of light.
Yeah.
Right?
There's always light. There's always light in darkness. Put yourself in a room, you'll see the light. In a room that's dark, you'll see the light. There's always room. Yeah, it is definitely, yeah. But people have to become aware of those things that you speak of. That's the first step. Yeah.
Absolutely.
People listening might not even understand that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that you said that. I was doing a show the other day. Everyone talks about being awake. I'm like, you know what, people? That's good. You're awake. Awake without awareness.
Yeah.
Is absolute lights out. It's like you're walking around and you just don't see it. Isn't that what did that mean to you? What was your awakening here?
Oh,
I saved it for the end.
Oh, wow. What was my awakening? That I don't need to put up with this abuse anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That was the deer in the headlights, like literally. No more. I can't do it. I won't do it. Next. Deep breaths. Yeah, it's healing is not an easy journey, but it's a worthwhile journey. It's an amazing journey. The rewards that the universe, God provides is, as you said, it's so unexpected. You think you know what your reward's going to be, and your mind's blown out of the water every time. So, yeah, it is. I just want people to know that if you're on the verge of going, I'm ready to start the healing process, find yourself somebody that is going to hold your hand and take you slowly through it, because it is a very delicate walk when you're first coming out of the perpetual darkness. It's not fun. It's not hard. Healing those dark shadows means refeeling the pain and then letting it go this time. So, yeah, when you're talking about the awakening, people can be awake and not have the awareness. That's just like having the discernment, but no critical thinking behind the discernment. So
I got to think about that. That was a little bit there. You just woke up a few little synopses here thinking about, but you're right about that, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think, though, part of what you find in the clients and the people you work with, don't you find, though, that this idea of not being awake is a great defense mechanism? Sometimes the pain we achieve in life or that happens to us, I mean, trauma, abuse, sexual abuse, assault, these are things that happen. And without the tools, we get this defense mechanism that says, no way, I'm going to be awake, but I am not going to be aware of this, right?
100%. Because you armor yourself up for protection. That's the coping skill, is to armor up and be tough and be very, if you're a female, you become very masculine because you need to toughen up. You need to protect yourself in that way, which is defensive. It's not coping. We need the balance of feminine and masculine, no matter if we're male or female, but we have to always have this space of, what would we call it? This space of knowing that everything that you have within you comes with balance, and that the overzealousness of the protection masculine side needs to be balanced with the heart-centered feminine side. And that's what I help people to do, is to eventually, we don't start there, but eventually get to the heart where we can open it up and be vulnerable, which brings in all the blessings. Yeah.
What a great first show. I want to take a minute because you touched upon something, and I want to make sure people understand that the work you do is help people walk through what it's like, people that are living in perpetual darkness. I mean, this is part of your work, to really help them walk through that, because it's the loneliest journey that I've experienced in my life, is to take that journey alone. I don't have to do it today, but it is seriously a lonely journey for me. And has been, but they don't have to be lonely anymore. So tell us what it is that you're doing to help people, and how can they find out more about what you're doing?
Well, the easiest way to find out more is head to my website, Organically Metta with 2 T's at .ca, organicallymetta.ca. And then you can kind of browse without me, there, and you can check things out. If you feel like you want to be inspired daily, I do a lot of awakening stuff over on Instagram. Facebook is inspirational. You can follow along and just see if the vibe is right, if we connect. For Heal Your Life coaching, that's done via Zoom, so I can do that all around the world. And what's lovely about that is there is a consult. The first consult is just getting to know one another and going through Louise's first questionnaire of her coaching and counseling to see if it's even a good fit. Because if our energy doesn't jive, then it's just not going to work. And then the therapeutic touch and the Reiki can be done long distance. It is so cool to have a long distance Reiki. And then anybody that's local or wants to travel to see me, then I can do an in-person Reiki as well. So the two together I did not know this, but it's one of those things, you don't know, and those two come together. So most people will start coming because they're like, oh, I'm not ready for any kind of healing work. They come for a couple of Reiki, and they spend 45 minutes talking to me, and then they've got 15 minutes for Reiki. And after a couple of times of that, I said, why don't you try the Heal Your Life coaching? Because it seems like you enjoy talking, and you probably didn't know that about yourself. So then we move into the Heal Your Life. Then if we're getting really intense with Heal Your Life, and the energy is getting very, very heavy, I say, we're going to do some Reiki to transmute some of that heavy density that needs to just be broken up and let go of. And see, that's how the energy is facilitated from me. They don't have to do the work. I'm doing all the work for them. They just have to be open to receive. And then that gives them the space to breathe and go, I can do this. I can continue doing this.
Yeah.
I've got it. I can do this. And every appointment is customized and individualized for the client. There is no one format. I use Louise's coping techniques, and I use her totality of possibility ways of making a new way. But it's all individualized for everybody. And I use my inner wisdom and guidance. And I call Louise in for help a lot. And she's never let me down.
Never. It's powerful. It's powerful beyond words. And what I encourage people to do is try it. I know for me, when I went through my healing journey and the medical profession basically said, good luck. I happened to have a show that enabled me to start to talk to people and learn about these things, whether it was Louise Hay or other people. And until you actually experience it and you feel it and you have results, it's hard to explain. And the kind of results may be different. I know for me, I got 2 Reiki treatments on several knee surgeries, and I was dancing in 3 days. And the doctors don't understand it. So this is the kind of energy and healing that has existed for thousands of years, and you are bringing it to the forefront.
Yes, yes, with a lot of resistance over it. I started this when I was young. This is this was hush hush. Don't you're wicked, you're whatever, and that still exists, but it's coming. They're doing Reiki and surgeries now in Mexico in the surgery room. They've got a Reiki master in there doing Reiki on the surgeon. Yes, please. I want my surgeon to have Reiki right before he's going to cut into me. Yes. So
Wow.
it's coming, but it people just need to be open-minded. Like, if what you're doing isn't working, why not try something new? What do you got to lose?
Well, that's what you're doing. That's why
Yeah.
you're here. Thank you for today. Tell us, look, what do you want to leave us with? What's your message here?
Well, I got 2 messages. The first one's really simple, and I'll leave the audience with 3 simple words to take away with them today. I love myself. Implant that into your mind and watch the magic happen. And I really want to thank you today for supporting me, and oh my gosh, being
It's an
there for me.
honor.
For the last 3 months, you've been my backbone, and what a mentor you are. So thank you for paving the road of the Om Show and making it a reality for me and inviting me on your network. I'm so blessed and grateful. And I want to thank the audience for tuning in today, and for Charlene for being brave enough to come on the air and talk. And I've had a wonderful time. Please join me next Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time or 12 p.m. Eastern time. And next week, the Om Show, I'll be doing it all by myself. I will be featuring the philosophy of Louise Hay, because not everybody knows who she is. And between now and then, make it a great week, and I'll see you back here next time.
All right. Thank you, everybody. What a great first show.
Thank you.
You have been listening to The Om Show with Tanya Butson on Transformation Talk Radio. Tune in every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific, where Tanya encourages you to experience yourself through love. This new energy allows you to become brave, to take the first step towards healing and thriving. Shift from longing to creating, to discover that there is something better. You will never ever have to settle for being in a state of perpetual darkness again. For more information, visit organicallymetta.ca. Again, organicallymetta.ca.